Have you ever driven late at night, headlights slicing through the darkness, the world reduced to just you and the road? There's a hypnotic rhythm, the hum of the engine, the endless white lines, the isolation, but then, you get that prickly feeling on your neck, the urge to check your rearview mirror. The highway at night is a world of its own, profoundly lonely, where every flicker in your periphery could be anything. In these moments, the ordinary becomes terrifying, and reality blurs. Tonight, we'll travel down 4 dark highways, each with its own chilling story. These true accounts will make you think twice about your next late-night drive. So, turn down the lights, get comfortable, and prepare yourself for a terrifying encounter with your scariest thoughts, moments that will make you want to click on a different video, but out of curiosity in the second story, you won't be able to stop watching and listening. I'm not here to scare you, but to make you aware of the mysteries of the unknown, a time others were not as fortunate as you. So kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel for more bone-chilling stories. Mark, a seasoned truck driver, was used to lonely nights on Route 17 in upstate New York. He'd spent years hauling freight through the winding, isolated stretches of highway, where the only company was the hum of his engine and the occasional distant headlights. The road was familiar, but it always held an air of mystery, especially after midnight, when the world seemed to shrink to just Mark, his truck, and the endless blacktop. One foggy night, visibility was nearly zero. Mark's world shrank to a tunnel of headlights. The fog was so thick it seemed to swallow sound, muffling the rumble of his truck and making every shadow loom larger than life. The air was heavy, damp, and cold, clinging to the windows and making the road ahead vanish into a wall of gray. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the shoulder, a man in old-fashioned, soaked clothes, thumb out, staring blankly into the fog. The man's presence was so abrupt, Mark wondered if he'd imagined it, but as he drew closer, the details sharpened. A battered hat, a long, tattered coat, and shoes caked with mud, as if he'd been walking for miles. Mark slowed, torn between concern and unease. As his headlights hit the man's face, he froze. The urge to help warred with a deep primal fear that something was terribly wrong. The eyes were hollow, the skin waxy and gray, like a corpse. The man's gaze seemed to pierce right through Mark. Cold and empty, as if he wasn't really seeing him at all. Terror surged. Mark sped past, refusing to look back. His heart pounded in his chest, hands shaking on the wheel. He tried to convince himself it was just a trick of the light, a tired mind playing games, but the image of that face clung to him like the fog outside. He tried to rationalize it. Fatigue, fog, a trick of the light. Maybe he'd been on the road too long. Maybe the isolation was getting to him. But the chill in his bones wouldn't fade. But then, impossibly, the same figure appeared again up ahead, in the exact same spot. Mark's breath caught. It was as if the man had never moved, as if the road itself was looping, trapping Mark in a nightmare he couldn't escape. Mark's dread deepened. He floored it, glimpsing the figure in his mirror, swallowed by fog. The man's outline seemed to dissolve into the mist, but Mark could feel his presence, lingering, watching, waiting. At the truck stop, Mark tried to calm down, but when he checked his rig, he found 5 long, wet streaks on the passenger door, like a hand had pressed against the glass. The streaks were icy cold to the touch, and Mark's skin crawled as he wiped them away, his mind racing with questions he couldn't answer. Mark never forgot those hollow eyes. They haunted his dreams for weeks, and every time he drove Route 17, he found himself glancing nervously at the roadside, half expecting to see that figure waiting in the fog. Some things on the road defy explanation. Stories like Mark's are whispered at truck stops and diners, warnings passed between drivers who know the road can be stranger than any fiction. Sometimes, the past lingers, waiting for someone to notice. Old tragedies, lost souls, and unfinished journeys can echo through the years, searching for a way to be seen. And sometimes, it finds you. The road is long, and its memory is even longer. What Mark saw that night was more than a ghost. It was a reminder that some mysteries are never meant to be solved. So if you see a hitchhiker on a foggy night, think twice before you stop. The road remembers. It keeps its secrets close, and sometimes it shares them with those who least expect it. And not every traveler is alive. Some are echoes, trapped between worlds, searching for a ride that will never come. Mark's story is a warning. Not everything you see on the highway is meant to be seen. The line between reality and nightmare can blur in the fog, and sometimes the past refuses to stay buried. Some things are better left in the fog, where they belong, out of sight and out of mind, waiting for the next traveler to pass by. Brenda was driving solo through the Nevada desert, the emptiness pressing in from all sides. The only sound was the hum of her engine and the occasional whisper of wind against the windows. The vast open landscape seemed endless, a black sea of sand and sagebrush stretching beneath a sky scattered with cold, distant stars. Out here, time felt suspended, and the world beyond her headlights faded into nothingness. Fatigue set in, her eyelids heavy, her mind drifting, until she spotted a convoy of vintage semi-trucks ahead, their amber lights glowing like beacons in the darkness. The sight was oddly comforting, a reminder that she wasn't the only soul braving the lonely highway that night. The trucks moved in perfect formation, their engines rumbling in unison, a steady presence in the void. She fell in behind them, following their steady pace for nearly an hour. The rhythmic flash of their taillights became a hypnotic guide, drawing her forward through the night. In their company, the fear and isolation faded, replaced by a sense of safety and belonging. It was as if the convoy was leading her home through the heart of the desert's darkness. But then, after a long, weary blink, everything changed. The trucks were gone. No taillights, no rumble of engines, no sign of an exit or turnoff. Just an empty stretch of highway, silent and still. The comforting glow of the convoy had vanished as if it had never been there at all. Panic set in. Brenda's heart raced as she scanned the horizon, searching for any trace of the trucks. She checked her mirrors, slowed down, even pulled over, but the desert was silent and empty. The sense of safety was replaced by a chilling realization. She was utterly alone, with only the memory of those amber lights to keep her company. Years later, the mystery still haunted her. One evening, while sharing her story with a friend, a chilling fact came to light. Her friend, a local history buff, dug through old newspapers and weathered documents, searching for answers to Brenda's strange encounter. They discovered that in the 1950s, a convoy of 6 trucks had disappeared on that very stretch of highway, swallowed by a sudden blizzard. Despite desperate searches, neither the trucks nor their drivers were ever found. The story became local legend, a mystery that lingered in the desert air, unsolved and unsettling. Brenda realized with a shiver that she'd driven with ghosts. The convoy she'd followed was more than a trick of the mind. It was a glimpse into the past, a fleeting connection to those lost travelers who never made it home. The loneliness of the road can play tricks, blurring the line between reality and memory. But sometimes, the past bleeds through, reaching out to the living in ways we can't explain. Out in the desert, where the veil is thin, old stories refuse to die. The desert keeps its secrets, holding them close beneath the sand and stars. Not every convoy makes it home, and not every traveler finds their way back. Some are destined to wander the highways forever, their stories echoing in the night. Brenda never forgot the comfort and the terror of those vanished lights. The memory stayed with her, a reminder that the road is full of mysteries and not all of them can be explained. On the highway, you're never truly alone. Some journeys never end, and some travelers are bound to the road, forever searching for a way home. And some travelers are still out there, rolling through the night, their headlights cutting through the darkness, unseen by most, but never truly gone. If you see a line of old trucks in the dark, remember, not all convoys are of this world. Some are echoes, reminders of those who vanished without a trace. The road is long, and some stories never reach their destination. They linger, waiting for someone to notice, to remember, to wonder. Brenda's drive became a legend, a warning to those who travel alone. The desert is a place of beauty and danger, where the past is never far behind. The past is closer than you think. Sometimes it rides just behind you, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to appear. And sometimes it's right in front of you, illuminated by nothing more than a pair of ghostly headlights on a lonely desert road. Sarah, a college student, was driving home late, her route taking her through a short, unlit tunnel. The moment she entered, the air turned cold and damp, the darkness absolute. Halfway through, a low moan echoed, then a scream, raw and desperate, filled the car. It sounded impossibly close, as if someone was in the car with her. Panic surged. Sarah floored it, the scream growing louder, vibrating through her bones. As she burst out of the tunnel, the scream stopped, replaced by silence and the chirping of crickets. Shaken, she drove straight to campus police, but no one believed her. Later, she learned the tunnel was called Screaming Sheila's Tunnel, named for a woman who died in a car accident there decades ago. Locals say her screams still echo on lonely nights. Sarah never took that road again. Some places remember pain. The tunnel's darkness holds more than shadows. If you hear a scream in the night, don't look back. Some echoes are more than sound. They're a warning. Sarah's terror became legend, a reminder. Not all tunnels lead to the other side. Some are traps for the living and the lost. Alex was driving home late, the woods pressing in on either side, the darkness outside his windows thick and absolute. The only sound was the hum of his tires on the lonely asphalt, and the occasional whisper of wind through the trees. It was the kind of night where the world felt empty, as if he was the last person left awake. The road ahead stretched on, empty and endless. Out of habit, Alex glanced in his rearview mirror, expecting to see nothing but the familiar darkness behind him. It was a routine check, something he did every few minutes, just to reassure himself that he was truly alone. But this time, for a split second, he caught a glimpse of something impossible. A pale face in the back seat, its eyes too large, too dark, staring directly into his. The features were blurred, almost shifting, but the intensity of that gaze was unmistakable. He blinked hard, heart pounding, and looked again. The seat was empty, just as it should be. No sign of anyone, no trace of the face he thought he saw. He tried to laugh it off, blaming fatigue or a trick of the light, but a chill crept up his spine. Still, the image lingered in his mind, unsettling and wrong. He gripped the steering wheel tighter, his knuckles white, every shadow in the car suddenly seeming deeper and more menacing. Unable to resist, he glanced at the mirror again. The face was back, gaunt, hairless, grinning with needle-like teeth, its mouth stretched impossibly wide. It seemed to shimmer in the darkness as if it was both there and not there at the same time. Terror froze him in place. He could feel the creature's gaze, a cold, suffocating presence filling the car, making the air thick and hard to breathe. His breath fogged in the chill, even though the heater was on. Desperate, Alex made a split-second decision. He took a sharp curve at high speed, barely controlling the car, and flung himself out of the moving vehicle, driven by pure instinct and terror. He tumbled onto the cold, wet grass, bruised and shaken but alive. Behind him, his car careened off the road and crashed into the woods, the sound of twisting metal echoing through the night. When the police arrived, they found the wrecked car wrapped around a tree, but no sign of anyone else. No footprints, no evidence of a second passenger. Just Alex, shaken and insistent about what he'd seen. Alex knows what he saw, even if no one else believes him. The memory haunts him, replaying every time he closes his eyes or finds himself alone in the dark. Sometimes, that urge to check your mirror isn't just paranoia. It's a warning, a primal instinct that something is watching, waiting for you to notice. The road hides things in the dark, secrets that linger just out of sight, waiting for a glance or a moment of weakness. There are things out there that don't want to be seen, until it's too late. If you ever feel eyes on you when you're alone, trust your instincts. Sometimes your senses pick up on things your mind refuses to accept. Not every passenger is visible, and not every presence can be explained. Some things ride with us in the dark, silent and unseen, until the moment they choose to reveal themselves. Alex's escape was pure instinct and maybe luck. He survived, but he'll never forget the feeling of being watched, the certainty that something unnatural shared his ride that night. The road keeps its secrets, and some rides never truly end. For some, the journey's over. For others, the memory lingers, a shadow in the rearview mirror. Next time you check your mirror, remember, sometimes you might not be alone. The darkness behind you could be hiding more than just empty seats. Some warnings come too late. And on nights like this, the road is never as empty as it seems. The open road promises freedom, but it also cuts through places haunted by memory and loss. For Mark, Brenda, Sarah, and Alex, the highway became a portal to terror. Their stories remind us, we're most vulnerable alone in the night, surrounded by darkness. These aren't just legends, they're real experiences that shatter logic. The road leaves a mark, turning familiar drives into lifelong fears. So next time you're alone on a dark highway, trust that prickle of unease. Sometimes it's not your imagination. Sometimes the road remembers you.